all night, not gonna rush the beat.
The stage, and whilst all that prep has been put to the side before, they're also sitting down in their Razer gaming chairs there, and so they're going to have to look towards what's going to come up on screen for themselves. We know that Fracture is going to be that first map, and can I just say, by the way, Kukuka, every time I see Fracture now, I just think of you, because you were so hard done by in the first 2 weeks of this stage.
Oh, and this one's going to deliver, girl.
I was going to say, and finally teams are bringing it out more often and putting up some good showings on it too.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see Fnatic until that last week. It was kind of field testing, it felt like, right? For them to play on that map. And I think that it is a map that it is very well prepared. I think that Boaster's calling on the attack is essential. For me, knowing what sides they're going to start and what not, I'm looking at two players specifically. Crashies on one side, because I don't think that against Vitality, he didn't have a good day. And I expect him to change things because of the aggression that I do expect and the reactions that I do expect to see from the side of Heretics. So the same thing goes for Alpha. Many of the Sentinels have been suffering through the consequences, but let me tell you, Alpha will shoot back.
I think the kind of two people that I'm looking at coming into this is the duelists on each side, right? Fnatic opting to go for that Phoenix the last time that we saw the Fracture. How's Sivov going to sit into that? We've seen that he's been great on that duelist so far throughout this stage. And then on the opposite side, we have Woot jumping onto that Raze. How do these two duelists interact with one another when you have that primary Neon on other sides and then the Raze and the Phoenix in between?
Sorry, but I realized that we're a little bit delayed with the agent select. One of the players, unfortunately, unable to keep the liquid into their cup there.
Oh, I remember this time G2 had when we were online. We had that happen and had to change a PC. The real ones remember that day. It was a long day for us. Anyway, going back into it, Fracture, very, very exciting. I think that the possibility of Ascent being the closing map for this series is absolutely stellar. I think that whatever happens, we have been blessed with this map, Vito.
Yeah, when I think about Ascent as well, like obviously we kind of mentioned already how Team Heretics had moments of struggling against that double Sentinel composition. Let's not forget the last time that Fnatic were playing this, it was a double Sentinel composition. They were running the Vice and the Sage on Ascent, but we don't need to talk about Ascent right now because we are obviously going to Fracture first of all.
Yeah, and we got our agent select popping up for Fracture there, and a little bit of what you guys are talking about. And I mean, could you talk about that the Fracture is going to deliver? Is it because of the agents that we're expected to see, or is it more just so how they play?
I think that especially the first half, I expect it to be so evened out. I expect it to be absolutely cerebral because of the reactions that we have seen from Team Heretics. The call from Boo here on the defense has been stellar, but historically, Boaster's calling on this map has been on another level. So for them coming into today, and as you said, having a little bit more time to prep, Fracture is very likely to happen. Sivov was incredibly comfortable in this Phoenix, so I'm just looking forward to this first half to start.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when we're looking at Team Heretics starting on this defense here, look at how they're utilizing not only the Fade and the Raze to fight for that A main space, but then also when the buy rounds start to get into play, Koshmaris with the Operator as well, using that as a threat towards for Fnatic being able to take into that space.
And it's important to mention that because we're singing the praises of Team Heretics yesterday, but Koshmaris was a little bit out of the picture. Yes, we were saying about Boo, about Benji, and about Wood. And then Koshmaris goes into a second spot, which is not been the usual case, and especially here on Fracture, we need to see him deliver from the very first moment.
Yeah, well, almost identical compositions. Well, comps, yes, right, but agents, right?
It's the duelists, right?
Yes, the Raze and the Phoenix. And so whilst you have outlined that they are different, which one do you favor a little bit more? Which one's going to give you that slight advantage on Fracture?
Ooh, I think the Raze, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Phoenix is good. Many kind of mentioned it yesterday, the way that in which Fnatic were prioritizing those orbs so that Sivov could constantly have his ultimate online to be able to take that space. Great in that aspect, but for me personally, I like the utility of the Raze.
Okay, so the Raze maybe just giving a slight edge. We'll see, though, as we're heading on into Fracture, our first map with Mitch and Tom.
Well, this matchup usually is a final, so it makes sense that today is the final opportunity for one of these teams to keep pressing forward, not to lock in a playoff spot, but to avoid being locked out.
Yeah, no, they've missed out on their opportunity for a slightly quicker route, and now, unfortunately for me, a couple of the Brits are now going to have to eliminate each other. One of them will be sent home, and the other might just have to stay in Berlin because for once they actually want to be going home. It's a bit of a weird scenario here, but Yeah.
It is an Irishman's dream, Tom. To see a game as good as this. That's what I'm talking about. Heretics and Fnatic facing off. And listen, last time we got to cast Esports, Tom, it was a fun cast. I had a good time, and I'm expecting no different here today.
Yeah, although if Fnatic do as well in the first 2 maps, the series ends.
It will be done.
So it's not a best of 5 this time, but we'll have to see. I think both teams coming in with their own strengths. I was definitely intrigued by what we get out of the map veto, where each side would go, whether Lotus would make it through, even though it's looked decent at times for Heretics. We know the level that Fnatic brings, and for Fracture, well, in the past, this would be a dream veto for Fnatic, but as of recently, this maps look very good for Heretics. That, though, not the best start.
No, that's a player we're going to highlight throughout this series. Koshmaris has had an incredible uptick. You heard it in the interview with Benji earlier on as well, how quickly he adapted to the team. But to start out this map, he'll be put to bed. Deleted as the old guard of Team Heretics realize the B site is wide open, and they'll rotate into position, but not in time. Smoke's already down, and it looks like Heretics will be locked out into a post plant.
Yeah, the Molly's going to hold them back. Won't be available for the post, but Fnatic clearly a little bit more wary about the retake. Beginning before, Sivov's aggression, though, immediately punished. He was meant to be this sort of distractor instead. Turning back to a 4v4.
Benji's watching their back, waiting for Alpha to round that corner, and he's made steps now. They know right where he is. They'll just smoke off and move to the site where Boaster now stands alone, not even on the site, in fact. So a bit of a problem when it comes to that defuse, because they're tucked in the corner. They've planted for main, but failed to hold control. And as a result, Fnatic will lose the pistol round. The defuse puts Heretics 1-0 up.
Yeah, great start from Rians as well. And I think we've spoken about this a lot in the recent few weeks, is that Rians has had some incredible games. So the joke was that every time he plays against Foot, he just becomes a god. But we've been seeing it more and more. His individual confidence, that prime coming back.
No, last. Nice! Guys, nice!
And then a round where, realistically, you go a man down and you have to play a full retake in a pistol round. I'll be honest, I thought it would be a little bit more difficult than that. They made it look quite easy.
It certainly should have been, yeah. I think Fnatic laid the foundations for a very strong round, but Rian's really lengthening the lists of teams that he's going to have those big performances up against. And that trip, not caught. The Prowler went right past it. It's up a little bit higher. And if Crashy's left, that's information for free. And also less indication for them as to, where that trip's going to be in the buy rounds. Tries to sneak his way past, won't make it, and all the while, it's a massacre in main. When Crashies eventually makes it here, they know all about him thanks to that trip, and it looks like just dotting the I's and crossing the T's here for Heretics. An almost flawless round. Alpha able to throw in a bit of a wrench into the works, but no love lost and no weapon lost really for Heretics as well. That pistol on Rienz who's rotating through. Alpha's going to need to do a little bit more if he wants to make this costly.
Yeah. I think they want Rienz to get the kill. I think that's why, other than the risk of Alpha, he stopped fighting. Just because when he only has a pistol, but also Rienz is the closest in terms of orbs to actually getting his ultimate online.
30
for
seconds
Alpha,
left.
It's getting to the point where death might be the point of call. And well, I guess both players end up getting the orb that they wanted. They'll even retrieve the extra weaponry, but maybe not quite.
Yeah, last second call to pick it up was quite fortunate,
They lose
or
a
the
judge.
Bulldog would go as well. Indeed, a judge and a pistol, I think, is all that's going to be lost. Certainly not the end of the world, nothing to cry about. Then yeah, Alpha, solid individual.
Job,
of course, he can show up for a bit of damage towards the end, but the key thing is how dominant it was before that, how clean it was. That's what we like to see. Heretics playing a tight game. Now the challenge as they come in with a pistol and an SMG, but still, those rifles, they won't be pulling any punches. But Fnatic approaching it with numbers. Look at this north side push 3 about to round the corner. And Koshmaris, that's 3 rounds in a row that he has put in the dirt.
Oh, Bench just about got out of there. Good usage of the cage meant he couldn't really do too much, and Kayak has dealt with Benji as well immediately. Oh, I was going to say they deal with this, but yeah, Rian's just cool. We had just a little bit of spam. He is the only player earning orbs other than via deaths. He's 1 away from his ult, but he'll get it online. I don't think he's going to use it in this scenario unless there are some crazy mistakes out of the Fnatic post plant.
You got loads of players with rifles there. Koshmaris getting a 0-3 on the board after that initial fight. I think he was the only real rifle. I'm not including the Bulldogs. Bulldog 1v1's on site. Nothing works. Everything goes the way of Fnatic. And then the Ghost just pops a few shots through the smoke, of course. Rienz is having quite a game. It's quite a series of games indeed. We'll see if that keeps up. Because, of course, they couldn't continue in this round. Fnatic out-armed and outplayed their opposition for 2-1.
Yeah. Good response. I think these are the sort of rounds as well where, especially with the lower weaponry, you can get caught out by a little bit of the aggression. It still had to be perfect, even with the reveals from Rienz. And then Alpha there to keep it.
Boys. Come on, boys.
Fairly
6
clean.
shots. Oh my god, my foot is itching.
It's also worth noting as well, we saw a moment ago that this map is only 58% attack sided, but for Heretics it hasn't been. They have been dominating on their defensive side, and Fnatic, the one map they played it was a 9-3 attack. So it seems we have both teams starting on their favored side from what we've seen so far this stage. And for Alpha, too many targets.
Yeah, you say that, there's a world where he gets them both. I feel like that's the world we live in most of the time.
Yeah, there's many worlds. There's most of the time he gets both.
But this time punished, and Fnatic forced to readjust. No control over the south side of the map. And so again, the death ball, the numbers comes into play. Worked phenomenally last time. It was Koshmaris to lose his life early on Dish. But this time they moved to the B side, and that means the challenge is Woot. And I was going to say, you know, it's tough to catch him lacking, but they've caught him off guard. Benji's now surrounded and soon to be dealt with. Somehow deals with Sivov, even blinded up, but pressure from all sides, and finally he will fall, but the damage is well and truly done.
Yeah, fair play. Just bear in mind, you weren't muted just because of something on the broadcast. That was purely because he was hit by that Nightfall. He was guessing where they were going to push from and got it right on both occasions. I thought especially the slide out from Kayak would have caught him. Instead, though, it's going to be Crashes and a clutch. Now, Boo is close enough. He should very quickly be able to make the call for his teammates to rotate in. I like the fact that Crashes has actually been able to get an open plant. Gives him way more opportunities, but he's walking into the cross. As a player watching this angle, Boo just sat there waiting. Koshmaris almost sacrificed to the wolves again. And a nice attempt on the reaction shot from Crashes. But Boo, I think maybe a little bit further out than he expected.
Yeah, it was a really nice attempt indeed. You could see the idea behind it. But in the end, not to be. Kosh getting on the board. Again, he's had 3 tough rounds, 2 where he was picked off right at barrier up. But the story wasn't just about him, because his rotation played a big role, right? Getting back into position to cover off that push through to the site. Gave Benji that little bit of security to play with, a little bit of trade-ups. Stacked the numbers heavily against their opponent, but yeah, Benji was definitely the one drawing your eye. What a phenomenal hold from him up top. How he got the first, because that blind hit, he had an adjustment to make there, alongside, as you said, before that, being hit by the Nightfall, having no sound, and yet still playing like he knew everything.
Yeah, even shooting the Prowler in the middle of everything. Yeah. It's like, it's all just reactions, but it's nicely played. Of course, 4 players survived in the round before for Fnatic, so financially still in a pretty good position. 1 off getting the overdrive as well for Kayak. His role will just be to try and get the entry off the back of Sivov's ult. The burst, though, relatively easy to clear. That Judge has got rid of 1, and actually, Boast has gone down just off the back of the nade. Yeah, it was the stun from Koshmaris as well. It just kept them in position. That's so nicely done. As you said, the last round from Benji, it was all reactions, and this was the same. There's no way that you can calm that quickly. Everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet. That's what you like to see. Fnatic, a man down, but no control. They at least move towards the north side of B, but Benji has slipped through underneath, and they have no idea of the snake slithering in the grass right behind them. Benji! He won't get 3, but the round, it's already theirs. Clean as can be from Heretics, and we might see a pause from Fnatic soon. This is not going according to plan. No, I think just seeing some of the individual reactions that are coming out from Heretics, like they get that early fight, they delay, they slow things down, but on the other side, it's not like players are just sitting there pretty. They take additional space, ready for that backstab. In fact, you can see him piece everything together the second they tap that orb. That's when Benji knows he's got them locked in. Rest of the players are already waiting on the site. And while for Heretics, again, like around when you go in with that run it back, you go in with the overdrive being picked up, you kind of expected it to go Fnatic's way, and they barely even made a dent.
Hey, you think about Alpha in those first couple of rounds, putting up some big plays, even when the numbers were against him, and you think, okay, well, what happens when the rifles come out? Well, nothing much different, really. It's been solid from Team Heretics so far, and as you can see within VCT, the record, although swings to them in some of the smaller games, when it comes to the big ones, that Stage 1 Grand Final especially, it's Fnatic who come out on top.
Yeah, it's a storied past, and it's a fun one as well, because obviously, I think you look at these two teams, 2025, other than obviously Kickoff, I don't think you can argue there was any better team in EMEA than Fnatic, making it to back-to-back international grand finals. And then for Heretics, 2024 the same. Like even playing with a stand-in, I think when they went to Shanghai and being able to make it to the final, always being that cursed second place team, but if you're second place worldwide, that probably means you're the best team in your region.
Yeah, I think that's a
unless maybe you're from
guess.
Pacific, and then sometimes that will mean that you're like top 3.
Yeah. Well, a 4-1 scoreline for Heretics, and we've just had a pause from Fnatic. This is where they need the winds of change to blow in their favor. With 1:20 on the clock, it seems like some of that early fighting will be given up on a group towards B main, but Heretics having a similar idea. And it looked for a second like Rian's wanted to push up, and it's a good job he didn't. Woot just found out the hard way that Fnatic's coming.
They have still got, well, I was going to say 3 players, but never mind. Seavolf has woken up, and now it's going to have to be some risky plays from Boom Rians, and, well, the risks did not pay off. It leaves Cosmaris left. Of course, he's going to be willing to throw this sniper in. Just an attempt to do as much damage as possible. Of course, this was a hefty investment from the side of Fnatic. If he can even take a couple away, that will hold value, but a huge round seemingly locked in from them already.
I think a big part of this is that early game, acknowledging that Heretics have had so much control over the map early. You think about the round before when Benji was down below. Fnatic rotated back from the A site, moved towards B main, and Benji managed to stab them in the back because they gave that space up so early. So this time Alpha is putting his utility across the map. Playing that north side to start, seeing if there's aggression, seeing if someone from Heretics gets curious, and when they don't, just group up and hit the site together. It's simple, but it's effective.
Yeah, I think as well with like commonly aggression in the early stages of the round, something Heretics like to do, be it on that south or north side. So just maybe thinking, okay, we haven't seen much of that towards B. That's a freer spot that we're not going to find immediate resistance, especially with the double duelist on the defense. You kind of have to be getting aggressive somewhere. I think it's also one where it's harder for the defense to fight. Like you might do the same towards the north side of B, but the south side of B, it's risky if there's a lot of players waiting there.
You can see Alpha's going to break that trip towards A. And this is good information for Fnatic. They've heard the push up in A main. Now they go to A dish, break the trip there. Your opponents still think the hit's coming in. Numbers still on that side, but no overreaction. Heretics still keep 2 players on that B side. Benji, who was so easily dealt with in the previous round. A random shot through the smoke. Well, he stands close to that smoke. In fact, he stands in that smoke himself and Woot. How far will they go? Content with the control they have, or wanting a little more? It's been re-smoked, but they've caught Crashies and then swung into Kayak. A beautiful setup from Heretics. A little bit of aggression sprinkled in, and it's given them the upper hand.
Well, that's the thing, they're still worried that this smoke might have some deep control. They can't risk running through it, and they're being pincered in from behind. They're slowly being closed in on, and they've only got 25 seconds. They've got nowhere left to go. Boo's even starting to think like, okay, I could just end this round with my ultimate. I'm going to hold it for a second or 2, and they don't clear that back corner. Benji once again. He has been phenomenal on this B site, be it in the tower or be it hidden in the corner.
And when you get that first kill in the smoke, when Woot takes Crashies down, that's where there's a decision. Do we run away? And Woot was going to. He put the blast back down. He wanted to get out. But the second Woot dies, Benji says, I've got to strike. I've got to trade. And he gets in there. That's Benji's round, and it's Team Heretics.